Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mic Drop, the weekly show where we discuss what's going on in the online marketing space. This week, Google had their Google Marketing Live Summit, where they kind of outline their plans for the coming months, what they're releasing to advertisers like ourselves, what kind of their vision is for the future. And so this week we'll be covering the top three announcements that came out of that are relevant to me as an advertiser and you as a business owner. The first one was responsive search ads. If you're familiar with the search ad space, right now you have a text ad that has two headlines of 30 characters and then one body copy of 90 characters, which is actually bigger than what we started with back in the day. And now they're making it even bigger. And so now responsive text ads have the option to show three headlines at 30 characters each, and then two description lines at 90 characters each. And so this is a huge increase in the amount of space that you get in your text ad. It's going to take up even more real estate on the page. I assume it's going to make competition a little higher because you're going to have less space to show actual ads. But really the big thing here was that the responsive part of it is that they want you to upload at least 15 headlines and then at least 4 body copies. And what they're going to do is use their algorithm to mix and match all of that into the optimal ad. And so what we're moving away from is a distinct control over what your ad says. And now you're kind of turning it over to Google and letting their robots figure out what the best message is for this person at this particular time. And they're going to take all of your little, copy points, and they're going to mix and match and find the best one. So that's interesting. It's kind of Google saying, stop A/B testing. I know I just talked about testing last week, but they're like, don't test, just let our robots do it all. And so, part of it's like, yeah, but I like to test and I like that control. But the other part's like, well, you've got these algorithms that have millions of data points, then maybe you can make a better ad than me. I don't know. I'm more happy about the increased size of the ad than really the responsiveness and like pulling in all the data. I will have to see how that works and if it's making intelligent ads. Number one, responsive search ads. Number two, local campaigns. So for local businesses, of which many are watching this very broadcast right now, local businesses, this is a campaign made just for you. It's made to drive in-store visits, and it's similar to the smart campaigns, which I've talked about in the past, which were kind of you give them your URL, your business goal, and it just goes. And again, the algorithm takes care of all the heavy lifting. Local campaigns, you will give them it'll use your extension data, so your location extension powered by your Google Business, call data, any ad creative you load in, it'll take all that data and it will use it to kind of create your campaign and go out, and it'll go across all the Google properties, Google Search, Google Maps, Places listings, Google Display Network, YouTube. It'll dynamically take all this creative and put it out there, and its goal is to drive store visits. The good part about that is Google is starting to roll out the actual metrics, store visits, to more advertisers. In the past, it's been kind of limited to these big box retailers who have thousands of stores around the US who are driving millions of clicks every day, and that Google could easily look at the data and see clicks and then people in the store. And so slowly it's been opening up to smaller and smaller advertisers, but I think now that they're focusing on these local campaigns, that in-store data is finally going to hit like the mom and pop shops, the one-off brick and mortars in one little city. And so we're finally going to be able to get that in-store data. We've started seeing some sort of data start populating in our ads, or our AdWords account. Google's starting to report on phone calls, people who clicked on directions, people who visited your website. All of this stuff is generated from map stuff, and it's kind of locked by Google right now. It just kind of showed up magically in our accounts, but it does show that they are moving focus towards that local business, so that's good. And then finally, the last announcement that I think is interesting to us is smart shopping campaigns. So again, smart campaigns being brought into the shopping space now. And so you're going to tell Google, my goal is X revenue, or Y return on spend, or this many store visits, or cost per store visit, and the algorithm is once again going to take over and run your shopping ads across all the Google properties, and with trying to hit that return goal or hit that revenue goal. It's going to make it right now. Our shopping ads are kind of they're not keyword driven, but we are trying to arrange it such that it's in like categories that make sense. But now the algorithm is going to take care of all of that. That's interesting for people who are run e-commerce right now. And what's really cool is that they're going to release an auto shopping feed feature. So Google's spiders are going to crawl your site and all the products and gather all that data that normally we need to take from like your e-commerce solution, export into an Excel document that has all these various categories and columns filled out correctly. So now it's going to be automated. So it's just going to crawl your site, figure out what stuff you sell, and then try to sell it on Google. So that is interesting. That will be really cool, and that will remove a lot of headaches, I think, for e-commerce vendors who aren't using like the big platforms that already have integrations with Google Merchant Center. So those are the three big ones that you want to know about coming out of Summit Live. Really, the overall theme was, I think, three things. One, they're doubling down on automation and simplicity. All of these smart campaigns, all of these algorithmically generated things where you just kind of provide some ad copy and they go to town. Google is definitely moving us in that direction. Two, they're focused on local. They are embracing the local business. They're trying to show value to local businesses with all their local focus and in-store tracking. So that's good for us who work with local businesses and you as a local business. And then finally, I think forget keywords. They didn't mention anything about keywords. All of these automated solutions don't think about keywords. Pretty much, even they're changing from AdWords to Google Ads. They're taking they literally took the words out of AdWords, to just make it Google Ads. And so, I don't know. I think it seems like keywords time on Earth are limited, and eventually we will all be on this kind of like algorithmically generated campaign structure. My only fear with all of this automation is that eventually all advertisers are going to kind of turn into this uniformed gray goo of ad copy where the algorithm has created all the ad copy and it all kind of looks the same because it's all being generated by the same algorithms. And any sort of like unique flair that we as advertisers can add to it is kind of washed away through their optimization process. So it's definitely something we're going to watch out for. We'll certainly test it, see if it's worth it. I know usually when it first comes out it's not the best, but we're going to test, find out what happens, and we will be sure to let you know here on Mic Drop. So consider that, Mike.